This is Umar for BoxNation in association with Global Next Trade, and I'm joined by the source. And before we get stuck into what on earth is going on with you, I actually saw one of your posts a few hours ago. You reposted Makhmudov calling out Anthony Joshua, and you said, "I'm sick of guys like this just trying to sell their ass to AJ." Absolute expletive. So do you think is that a bit harsh from you though? Because he's being linked with AJ DM Makhmudov. What was that post really about?
Yes, that's about what I said. But now that I'm a heavyweight, I'm starting to kind of see the different side of boxing in the sense of like people act one way and then behind the scenes they're not really on fighting anyone. Do you know what I mean? So when you got someone like Makhmudov or whatever who's beating Dave Allen and like congratulations, but everything is all about me and AJ. It just makes me feel just like you like not to say you. No, it's just like, yeah, someone like that. It's like you've been beaten by Guido, beaten by Caballero, and not just beaten well. And now all of a sudden it's like you're calling out AJ. I was just like, I'm sick of it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and if it's not him, it's someone else selling themselves to a fighter. It's like we're all heavyweights. Contenders should fight contenders. Not that Makhmudov's a contender, but contenders should all be fighting each other. But it seems like right now everyone's sitting around hoping that Riyadh pays or they have just a mega fight against either AJ or Usyk, and no one really seems to want to be fighting each other, so it's a bit frustrating.
Does this stem from the back of basically not being able to land an opponent, and that's really what's frustrating you as well? Because you put yourself out there for many fights and fighters, and nothing's materializing.
Yeah, so it's a bit more for me the behind stuff, if that makes sense. So it's like when I was cruiserweight, whatever, you make fights to be world champions. It seems like at heavyweight, everyone's just waiting. Like, I know Uzyk's done his thing, and you got to give him his credit and his respects, but the Uzyks, the Furies, the AJDs, etc., it's like, not only are they getting towards the twilight, they're sort of in their own bracket where they fight each other, but it seems like everyone else, it's not about not wanting to fight me or not wanting to fight someone else. It's like they're all waiting for the handout from one of these guys, but they won't box anyone until the opportunity comes. Someone like Parker and Fabio, okay, now they go on. But Parker didn't fight for a whole year, and then he realized, I can't get to this fight. So he went for the Fabio fight. But you see, let them. But then everyone else in the bracket underneath, like who've never been world champions, never done all that stuff, should all be fighting each other. And I don't think it's like a crazy concept that fighters should be fighting each other.
Okay, so for your next fight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read out like some names from the top 15, yeah? And I want you to be honest. So what I'm going to get you to say is whether they should be willing to fight you. But there might be certain fighters in there who are either locked into a fight or in a really good position with a governing body, and you can just say, you know what, fair enough if they don't fight me for now. So I'm gonna just reel off some names, yeah? Filip Hrgovic.
No, there would be no reason for him not to fight me.
Okay. Martin Okolie.
Also no reason.
Efe Ajagba.
Also no reason.
Zhilai Zhang.
Also no reason.
Daniel Dubois.
Also no reason.
Ajit Caballero.
Probably the least reason.
Okay, why so?
Well, we're in the same governing body. He's our number one contender. He's interim world champion, and he's not getting an Usyk fight now, and I don't think ever. So it's like it should be the number one versus the number two.
I hear that. I mean, Michael Hunter could throw him in there.
Another one, like no reason. And then when you look at all those names, we've all made money from boxing. Like everyone that you said on that name had at least one big fight, done business, whatever. But so what? You should all be fighting. But you look at all those names, and hardly any of them are having any fights. Like one fight a year, outside of injury or whatever else. And it's kind of like it kind of puts everyone in a weird thing of like everyone's, as I said, stalemating. Like someone like Caballero, his last fight, I think he's gone on a great run of form. Everyone calls him this boogeyman, blah blah blah. But then his next fight's looking like it's going to be against like a 50-year-old Albanian. It's like, but you're meant to be the boogeyman, he's not like, he could beat Usyk. But then you choose to fight like an old gentleman. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's not really resonating with me as a fighter. That's it really. Do you know what I mean?
Makhmudov I didn't mention actually. Would you fight Makhmudov next?
I would fight Makhmudov next, obviously. Like, that's like someone like him really shouldn't be calling out like an AJ, etc., etc. It's just like, just as a placeholder fight, yeah, I would.
Right, some of the names I didn't mention, the obvious one in terms of Parker and Wardley, because they're locked in with a fight and they're gunning for Usyk next. I didn't mention Usyk either, and I didn't mention Italma and Chisora. Do you think that's fair that those are the names I didn't mention?
Obviously the two having a fight, I would understand. The two are not really. Like, that's also a fight, and Chisora, that's also a fight. I get Chisora's at the latter stage of his career, so he's probably looking for one really big fight, and I think, I then I'm a fan of him, so I get if he could get an Usyk fight or like a Wilder fight, that one. And with Moses, the only thing I'd give is that although he's performing really well, he's still at an early stage in his career, so those are only caveats. But the other two, because they're having a fight, yeah, I get why you wouldn't say them.
So one day with Moses, like friendship aside and the respect and admiration aside you had for him, that could happen, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, definitely. Do you know what I mean? It's like, yes, there's a sort of like respect there and like almost friendship. But it's a case of, if he now became a world champion, like let's say through the WBO, or like, do you know what I mean? There's definite ways. It's like, then this is boxing, so you can fight your mates if you want to call it that.
One name I actually didn't mention, he is coming off a loss to Philip Hergovich, but it's David Adley. Would you take that next?
I would. That's another one who's someone who, if you talk about in boxing, I'm friendly with, but you would. It's like, obviously my aim is world titles and so on and so forth, but in the interim where Usyk is like sort of holding all the chips, I think we all should be fighting each other. That's the thing, that when Turkey was here, you saw all the heavyweights fighting each other and everyone was giving him the praise. He's fighting him and he's fighting. But then you realise that it's only the money that sort of motivated them, as opposed to like the want to actually be champion. So whatever anyone has ever said about my career, is like, I've always pushed to be a world champion at every stage. Cruiserweight, any sort of belt I could win, I'd go for. Any opponent, and whatever it was, I'd go for it. Cruiserweight went straight in, even after a loss. World title. Heavyweight, Trian. Do you know what I mean? Pushing, obviously beating Kevin Arena, who's like a solid heavyweight and Cruiserweight world champion. But it's like, for me, at this new weight, it's like I'm trying to keep the same energy going, but as you can see from the landscape, like people are not really on it.
Lawrence, have you sparred both Joseph and Fabio before?
Yes.
You sparred both. Okay, so from that, what are your main takeaways and how do you see the fight going on October 25th?
The main takeaway is obviously sparring, so I don't really take too much from it. But when I look at them to match up with each other, I think that it depends on how accurate Fabio is on the day. Because I think that stylistically, he struggled with boxing. So Honey gave him a lot of trouble. And the first fight against Fraser, he also struggled. Obviously, it was a close fight. Could have gone either way. And what got him over both those fights is like explosiveness and being able to land a shot and drop Clark, and the same with Honey, and then obviously stop him in a rematch. So it's kind of like, is he going to be accurate enough to land against Parker consistently? Because I don't think it's going to be one shot in round one that's going to knock out Parker. I think he needs to be able to land quite consistently. Like when we see his fight against Joe Joyce and so on, and that type of energy. Even Zhang dropped him. He managed to get up and still win that fight. So I do favour Parker, because I don't think that Wardley's going to be able to one-shot KO him, and I don't think he's going to be able to live with him boxing-wise. However, if he does get the accurate shots off, I think he's got more than enough that sort of intent and intensity to force a stoppage. So yeah, that's how I see it. But I see Parker winning like a wide points or late stoppage, or Fabio losing most rounds and getting a KO.
Okay, well, that's coming up shortly, October 25th at the O2, live on DAZN worldwide. Lastly, and most importantly, I've got to mention this amazing news regarding Joe Gallagher, who's survived cancer. You must be ecstatic for him, Lawrence.
No, I'm over the moon. And you know what? It's kind of like testament to his character. I can't, like, the whole process that he went through in terms of life, finding out when he told us, the fighters, how he handled it going forwards. I tell every single time I saw him in the gym, you'd almost have to be reminded that he was dealing with what he was dealing with, because his energy was always positive. It was always for the fighters. It was always, forget all that, see you on the track, hit the bags. If I'm here, why are you, like, you come a minute late, he's going through more than whatever you're going through. Why are you late? Why is he on time? So he just always maintained like a positive attitude. He always was still for the fighters. And like, you know, obviously when you hear something like cancer as a fighter or as a friend or as a family, you always get nervous and just think the worst. So to see someone like him sort of get to the other side, not only have I got a newfound respect for him, I admire him as a person. He's obviously had so many world champions, but it's not like his energy's for them and then everyone else gets a little. Sometimes I think he's more passionate about the fighters in Champs Camp and Moss side, like the ones up and coming, than he is about the champions. Like, oh yeah, you guys are gonna have your 12 rounders, but you know, Mike in this 8-rounder, he's excited. He lives it and breathes it. So, and another thing, and even adding to that, is that he'll put the same energy into a stadium fight as you would into someone having a small hall show fight. So it's like, mate, he's just a great person, full stop.
Well, I'm glad to say he's going to be able to carry on putting that energy into Eric Fighters and yourself, of course. So, Lawrence, appreciate your time.
We'll get into Nigeria as well. We're gonna, I don't know if he's ever been. I don't think he's been yet. So that's gonna be a good one.
For sure. Listen, appreciate your time, and then we'll catch up definitely when you have some fight news. It could be a while still, but we'll stay patient, stay locked in, and hope you.
We're in December. I think we'll go in December. We already kind of got it locked. Yeah, we'll go in December. It's just finalizing who it is. Do you know what I mean? That's the interesting part. But we're locked in for December. But yeah, we'll catch up. We'll
Perfect.
close.
All right, we'll let Frank solve that puzzle for who the opponent is, and then we'll speak soon.
All right, great to catch up.
Bye, mate.